ready to start?
We have all three board members that are remote, able to hear us and for us to be able to interact with them. So yes, we can start.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Is this better,
Yes, it is. Thank
Carolyn?
you.
Okay. Yep.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the order of the agenda?
Yeah, we have no changes, Madam President.
Okay. So do we need a vote on it or not? You do. Okay, are you going to poll?
Yes, I can.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Here the instructions are right in front of me. Okay, let's look at the consent agenda and see if somebody would like to make a motion to approve. We have the minutes, we have the January bills, and we have the bids for forestry truck, a forestry truck and chassis.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second motion. Any further discussion?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Dawson, Commissioner Dawson. Oh, maybe we lost her. Can you hear us, Vicki?
Yes.
No. Commissioner Morgan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Recognition of the audience and public comments. Do we have any people are interested in speaking? Okay, then I think we can skip that. Is that right? Or do you want this read? The
Nope, we should be good.
Okay. All right, good. And next we'll have the executive director's report by Dave Leaker.
Thank you, Madam President. So we are trying something a little bit different tonight with our expanded directors group. I've been working with Deputy Director Susan Foss to my left and Deputy Director Dave Beats to my right. And we've talked about setting up a new format for our board meetings with our expanded director lineup. And so pending the outcome of this meeting, if all the commissioners feel this is a good format, we'd like to stick with it. But for future board meetings, we'd have myself and the two deputy directors, along with our finance director, and also our community relations director, and then our attorney, Jeff Gunkelman, sitting at this table. And then as we get presentations in the future, we'll ask those directors to attend the board meetings and make their presentations. And of course, all of our board meetings are open to all of our directors team and all of our staff who would like to attend. So with that, we're changing up the director's report a little bit, and I've compiled a list with the help of our directors team for an executive director's update. And so I'd like to kick that off right now. So I touched on the meeting format a little bit, an update regarding Yonker Farm. Bill Marhar and Carolyn presented at the Northern Plains Botanical Society last Thursday. The Northern Plains Botanical Garden Society Board approved suggestions for trails, material access, deliveries, parking, meeting space, and future growth. They were invited to the February 21st public input meeting regarding the Yonker Farm Master Plan. Carolyn also liked to let the board know and the public are invited to the February 21st public input meeting on Yonker Farm. It will be held at Broadway Station, which is located at 1461 Broadway Street North. And that meeting will be held between 6 and 8 p.m. There will be a brief program to update the attendees on the information that has been gathered and the drawings that have been prepared. Following the brief programs, everyone is invited to share their feedback on draft designs. We have invited all the stakeholders and individuals who signed in at the first meeting. Ads are scheduled to run in the forum and on social media. The final documents for the master plan are expected to be available in May, and then we'll make our presentation to our commissioners.
Steve, could I ask, how
Yep.
many people do you have on that list of the attendees at the last public meeting?
I don't have that information. I wonder if Carolyn would have that offhand, or we can definitely find it for you.
I believe we had 25 or 30 that actually signed in. I can't guarantee that everyone signed in.
Okay, well, it was such a great turnout. I was really impressed, which means there are a lot of people who are interested in the project.
Yes, and we sent it to all of those folks, plus the previous invitation list that we had, people that were interested in Island Park Master Plan, other additional stakeholders that we found. Plus, there'll be advertisements in the paper. There's social media posts right now. So we're trying to get the word out as to the group, knowing that this is a long weekend for schools. And so hoping, plus we sent it out to church groups. So that's why we're inviting folks today, so that they also hear it here and share it with their friends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. An update regarding the Island Park Master Plan. Moorhead State University of Minnesota seniors, art students, and the NDSU Advanced Landscape Architect students have been invited to participate as teams on a class project to help create an amenity for Island Park that will create positive interaction with green space for the community wellness. This is part of the recommendations included in the Island Park Master Plan. It was originally proposed by the Kiwanis Club of Fargo. It is a partnership with the club and the district. Projects will start this month and will conclude April 2023. The goal is for students to produce ideas that could be supported by Kiwanis fundraising efforts and installed in the southeast section of Island Park. That's the portion of the park that's just across from Prairie St. John's. Any questions related to that? We have an update on Rose Creek Golf Course and our new restaurant vendor down there. Rose Creek 19th hole is working on remodeling the grill kiosk, the sign on University, and some painting repairs upstairs. Carol mentioned we are beginning to get calls, and we are forwarding them to Andy with the 19th hole. So all's going well down there, and pending the storm tonight, we hope to, well, I won't even say because I don't want to jinx us. So a couple staffing updates. Isabel Sinkler has been hired as our aquatics and recreation supervisor. She started on January 16th. Cade Merrigan has been hired for a concession supervisor. He started this past Monday, yesterday. Eric Smith has been hired for the first assistant at Edgewood and Elzagle with a start date of March 27th. Cindy Kaufman has been hired as our horticulturalist assistant. She will start on February 27th. William Lyons has been hired as our network administrator, and he will start on February 27th. Also related to staffing, interviews are going for an open park maintenance position. Interviews concluded for the parks director position this afternoon. Our next steps would include a second round of interviews or extending an offer. So we look forward to hearing what's next on that. Applications have closed for the Fargo Parks Sports Complex director position. So interviews will be set up over the next several weeks. And just personally, I know we had quite a few applicants and very qualified applicants. So that'll also be interesting to hear how they panned out. Application
How many
closed
total
tomorrow.
applications? Dave, how many total apps did you get?
27, Commissioner Rosted.
Okay, thank you.
And we did receive applications from all over the United States. So we had, oh, yeah. Dave Beats actually has, we received applications from South Dakota, Minnesota, North Dakota, Colorado, Florida, Virginia, Missouri, Kansas, and Minneapolis. Yeah. So yeah,
At
we got
first
some
blush,
great interest in it.
I was gonna say, at first blush, can you see if they've had experience with a multi-use facility like this, any of the applicants?
Yeah, I think we have some very high qualified applicants. I don't know if they necessarily have, say, experience at the one in Woodbury or that one, the St. James in out in Virginia that we toured as part of the National Recreation Park Conference, but they've got a wide variety of experience and related to large venues, some university systems and their wellness centers. So I don't know if anybody wants to add anything. Regarding the organization, staff continues to work on the business model for the Fargo Park Sports Complex. Currently, a split of 70% rentals and 30% programming is being utilized to create a benchmark for spaces to calculate potential revenues. Work is still being done to establish staffing levels and actualize expenses for utilities and building operational costs. As we move into the budgeting for 2024, we will bring these staffing and expense-related costs ahead to be planned for the opening of the complex. So I think once we get that director of the Fargo Park Sports Complex, we'll continue on moving with getting operations planned for, budgeted, and staffing hired. And I would like to wrap up my executive director comments with some great news we received from our foundation. We were notified today that we were the top fundraiser on Giving Hearts Day again. This happened last year and happened again this year. And so what that means is we've been awarded an additional $10,000 bonus that'll go to our fundraising efforts. And I know the question will come up, what did we raise? So our foundation raised $707,000 or $707,795 for this year's Giving Hearts Day. So I just like to congratulate everybody that helped out with that fundraising effort, and also all those that helped contribute to our goals. So
Dave,
thank
is
you.
that before the match or after the match?
Yeah, so if you add the match to it, it'd be 717,000. So it didn't include the match. 707,000.
The $12 million
Yeah.
potential
Oh, I
match.
gotcha. You asked about the matching. Okay. Yeah, so you would double that would be 1.4 million. Sorry,
so that's-
Commissioner Dawson. I was
that's
thinking you're
before
talking
the
about the
match.
$10,000.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dave, I just wanted to ask one thing. This is kind of off the agenda, but in speaking about Island Park, what's the latest news on theater activity over there?
So the last I heard is what I included in probably a Friday overview several weeks ago, is that Fargo Moorhead Community Theater is working on the multi-use facility to the north of us across the railroad tracks with the city of Fargo and their parking garage. And if you're asking what are their plans regarding Island Park, right now, I believe they're going to, essentially put all their eggs in their indoor facility right now. So I would say that the outdoor venue over there, we would just get that reclaimed, seeded, and go back to natural green space. I don't think they have any plans to redraft that lease at this time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Quick question on Giving Hearts Day before we go forward, and maybe if somebody can answer it, but how many total donors or investors did we have? Do we know how many total, and then how many returning / new?
We had over 80 individual donors this year.
Over 80 individual donors, okay.
And we're going to run through those numbers as far as how many returning donors. I know it's pretty high. I mean, recognize a lot of names have been called to thank you. So some new faces, but definitely some returners. So
Good.
I can send that out though.
Yeah, and kind of average gift or median gift, or, some of those kind of stats. But yeah, great job, Craig, and the foundation team and the marketing team. That's awesome to be the number one.
And
Craig, what threshold did you what donor? How much did you have to give for you to make a phone call? Can you guys hear me?
Commissioner Dawson, to answer your question, we typically do our best to get as far down the list as possible, and I think everyone that gave over $20, I believe, got a phone call. I think I have a couple of phone calls yet to make, but we got through quite a few of those. Special thanks to Jerry Rosted for volunteering to make some calls. Stacy Griggs from our foundation board made a bunch of calls too. So yeah, it's been a good tradition to call our donors and thank them and give them information on our projects. So it's worked out great.
I wanted
Great.
to ask,
Thank you very much.
how many years have we been doing this? I think it was just recently, isn't it, that we started doing this?
This is just year 3.
Yeah.
So we've had good success. It certainly helps to have such an impactful community project we're working on at the scale. But I think we have a good handle on this event, and it's an exciting day for many reasons, to see our community give in such a profound way, but to see people support our mission and our projects, very inspiring for us as staff and the foundation.
Excellent feedback.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and then I thought this is what Vicki was asking, but to get into Giving Hearts Day, I think there is some kind of, don't you pay a fee, and what else is required?
So there is a little bit of a process. I believe there's over 560 plus charities that partake. So there is a minimal registration fee. There is some software if you use DonorDoc and stuff like that. The training they give you there is incredible. If people that want to, really excel that day, there's constant trainings that are going on for people which we've attended for, early on. I think the next training starts next month for next year. So it's just an incredible, DMF and their group is just knocked out of the park. I mean, they had their passion for this and how they help people reach their goals, unparalleled in my opinion, what they do.
Excellent, thank you.
Commissioners, I would also like to add, Susan gave me the totals for Valley Senior Services for Giving Hearts Day, and they raised $57,534.27. So thank you, Susan, for bringing that to our attention. And then just one other item I'd like to add that I missed when I was talking about the meeting format. So it's been discussed with commissioners that they really appreciate that interaction with our Fargo Park District staff. And an idea that Dave, Susan, and I have been talking about is doing something similar to what we do with outside groups and agencies, giving a presentation at our board meetings. We'd also like to extend that invitation to maybe our different departments throughout the Park District. And so maybe every month we would have a different department come and present and allow the commissioners to meet them and ask questions. So we think that's a great opportunity for the commissioners to get to know our staff and our staff get to know what we do at the commission meetings. So sorry I missed that, but I'm glad I caught that. So
I
that
think
is all
that's
I
a great
have.
idea. I think that's a great idea, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dave and
And
Sue.
I very much appreciate too that we've had such interesting guests who have come to make presentations so that the board can learn more about some of our partnerships and some of the things that groups going forward that we work with. So I'd like to introduce Odin Helgerson. He's from the Sandhills Archery Club, and we do have a bit of a partnership with them, and I'd like to hear all about it. So you're right up there.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity today to address you on archery. And I'm going to start with a little bit of history, and it's probably more than you would think. Archery goes back across the globe. We estimate around 15,000 years. So if you think about it, that is 600 generations of archery history, and it's been practiced really continually for that time. Well, what one thing has gone on for that long? And why? Why would it be archery? Well, that's a tool that provides food, clothing, shelter, security. It actually provides survival to people. So, and Dave, there is hope for all of us. We've all been pre-selected, genetically through archery, that we should all be good archers, because if you weren't good, right, your chances of survival were a lot less. And very interestingly, there's something about archery that creates friendships. And this is something I'm still trying to figure out, but my parents were in the Rochester Archery Club. And they had a group that they called the Archery Gang that were their closest friends that they met through the archery club. And they were close friends all the way through to the end of their lives. It was just an amazing thing. And my good friends really come from the archery club for a large part. And that club is Sand Hills Archery Club. Now, it was founded in the early 1950s, so it's 70 years old. And it started down by Kindred, and it started as a target organization because there wasn't even a deer season back then. We didn't get a deer season in North Dakota until 1954. And the club, looking back on it, was kind of homeless for about 40 years. And they were down in Kindred, and then they came up to Fargo. They actually shot at Dyke West. They were involved with Fargo Parks and had property up at Trollwood, and they had a range up there, and then it got flooded, so they went back to Kindred again. And it wasn't until around 1990 when 3D targets came into being, and the guys got together and they bought a bunch of targets and hosted shoots at the Fargo Civic Center. And they were so well attended by people throughout the region that they raised enough money to buy 25 acres for a park out in West Fargo, and that was in 1994. So the volunteers bought the land, developed it, followed the rules, put a fence all the way around it, and made it into this park. So we have an indoor and outdoor park now. And we can shoot 30 yards indoors. And we have about 500 to 600 participants that are members. So we have single and family memberships, and everybody has an access card that allows them access 24/7, 365 to indoor and outdoor. And you can imagine this time of year, indoor is much more popular. And we impact about 2,000 people directly that come and shoot as members of the public or come to our events throughout the year. And it's going to go up because we've got a couple things going on this year where we're going to be at the Fargo Dome during the Sportsman Show, and we're going to have opportunity for the public to shoot there. And we're working on an organization or an arrangement with NASP, which is National Archery in the Schools program. It attracts such a wide range of people. I go out to the range with my wife, who's over 60, and a grandson who's under 10, and they shoot archery together on a very level basis. And I started him shooting at 3 years old in the garage, shooting balloons. And there is just an archer at Las Vegas, which is a national shoot. And he started shooting at age 95. And this year in Vegas, he was 101. And they interviewed him after the shoot. And his last words were, "I'll see you next year." And we also just had a blind group. We had a group of blind archers at the club, and it was amazing. They just loved it. It's something they can do entirely on their own once it's set up, and they could hit about a foot-sized circle at 10 yards with a bow. So it was very impressive. In 2017, the club was looking at raising money, building a building. We were looking at about $3 million and started talking to partners. And then we found out from the city of West Fargo that they had different plans for us, and we were assessed about $1.5 million in specials. So we're now paying about $100,000 a year, and it's kind of put a crimp in our building plans. And we think, so we haven't started that building yet. We're still of our original building. And the thing that I think we've really missed is the economic impact of bringing shoots in that we can bring more people to the community. And then the NASP that I mentioned earlier. Statewide, there's about 15,000 kids that participate in National Archery in the Schools program. And as I understand from Jeff Long at Game and Fish, he's a NASP coordinator, there aren't any that come to the events from Fargo or West Fargo. Well, there's about 1,500 kids that participate in our school systems. They don't translate to the events. And we think it's because it's lack of equipment, lack of places to shoot. So we're looking to solve that issue as a club. So if you can think of a group that really purchased their own land, runs it, operates it, opens to the public, if you want to talk to us about any kind of future plans, what we might try to do, we're all ears. And I know Dave Leaker and Craig have my number, so. Now about the wildlife management program, I'm new to this. I just got started in this last year, so there's a bunch of others that came before me. I know Craig Beer was very much involved in it. It's gone exceedingly well. We just finished up the 17th year of the program. Really didn't have any issues. Had a couple people that had questions and concerns, and the way I approached them was with kindness, attentiveness. They wanted attention, and then really humility. They don't know what's going on, and I can't assume they know anything. So to be very careful and answer all their questions, and actually turn them into really friends of the program. So that's part's gone exceedingly well. And just to go through the schedule, this time of year, the season just ended on January 31st, and we're working on a survey. So everybody has to fill out a survey, and we have a whole list of questions. And Officer Matt Sanders has handled this in the past. I just talked to him today. He's part of our group. We'll help with this going forward. And so these are kind of his notes in this part of the year I haven't gone through. In March, we'll be just, finish up the survey, be working with the city of Fargo and State Game and Fish to make sure we're on the proclamation. In April, we'll go through the parks and make sure all the tree stands are removed that they're supposed to be. If they're not, we'll take them down. And then in June, we get going on this year again, where we conduct the sign up electronically. And then we have the training sessions. They're hosted out at Sand Hills Archery Club, where then we take the people that are selected through training, and then we have them shoot and pass the proficiency test, and then assign them to their parts of the city where they will participate. And then the program really starts with the opening of archery season 1st of September, runs through January. And an amazing thing about this is the participants are so passionate about it and enthusiastic that they love this program and really want it to continue. So it's kind of a self-regulatory group. So if there's any concerns, they bring it to our attention and we can address them. And that's really it. Are there any questions that anybody has?
Question. So high school activities, there's like the clay target shooting teams now, right?
Yes.
So is there any sort of partnerships, or, I mean, I would assume that it would be fairly connected to archery. I mean, is there any possibility of kind of having those connected or working with those teams? And
We've started talking to them. It's a bit different. And those two things really have not gone together at this point. Now we have a shoot coming up that Sand Hills is hosting, Sand Hills and Lake Agassiz Bowman actually together. And we're bringing the NASP kids into that in Fargo. And that's the first time that's been done. And we're planning on that this spring.
yeah, because that's what I was kind of thinking about, getting younger kids involved, right? And then
Yeah,
turn it into an activity that
it's one of the
potentially
things
could be sanctioned by the state,
Yeah, and it's one of the things about archery is you don't have to be the fastest or the strongest or the tallest, obviously, to really participate and excel. So there's a lot of kids that can be involved in it, and they can be, obviously it's an individual sport, but they're on teams as well. So.
Yep. Yeah, and fishing as well now has become, I don't think it's officially sanctioned yet, but there's metro high schools that have fishing teams. So especially in North Dakota, it seems to make sense to have, archery, shooting, fishing as sort of alternative activities for, not everybody is going to fit into traditional sports. And so these type of things I think are beneficial for youth to be on teams. And
yeah, and archery is, is very cost effective. As I say, archers are cheap. They reuse their bullets. So
Odin,
makes
this
it cheap.
is Vicky Dawson, and I think this is fantastic. Referring to is the trap shooting and the fishing league that are basically viewed in the state of North Dakota. And I know a couple of the people that got some of those things going. So if there's a way connected on how they got themselves through the gate, by all means, let's figure that out, because you don't need to be a certain height, certain weight, certain strength, but you get all the great part of a team and accountability and responsibility that, and even just the competitive on a team.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of discipline involved, a lot of good skills, and to be able to, operate under pressure in front of a target line is takes a lot of skill. So.
Yeah, I just noticed out in Lake Park, I was just looking at their curriculum one day, and I noticed that they had a lot of activities such as this archery and fishing and things that people would naturally do out in the lake area where they have a lot more space. So I just thought I was really inspired by that, because it's really supporting the kids in some different ways than we have traditionally in schools. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, we've had, not only the blind group, we've had other handicap groups out at the club, and it's, it's amazing to watch them. It's, inspirational, and they absolutely love it. So,
What I was going to say, and so for us as well, so obviously you're working with West Fargo, but are there other things that you work with Fargo Park District on, or how is our existing relationship or potential future relationship?
Yeah, at this point, the closest thing we're working with is the Fargo City Wildlife Management Program.
Oh, okay.
So we've kind of taken over the management of that as a club in the operation of it.
Okay.
To, it came from Fargo Police Department to San Joe's Archer Club.
I think it's really good, because I don't know how much you know about the program that existed in the past, but I think this association with your group has given it more capability.
Yeah, we certainly, we certainly know a lot about archery and setting up ranges and the safety records and the insurance aspect. We've been doing it for a long time.
All right. Well,
Odin, do you have any idea how many hunters you have to turn away? Maybe you can't gauge that because went off remotely.
We don't know that. The selection is really very interesting part. We pick about 40, and it's the first 40 that sign up. And there's been a lot of discussions about, I think, really every part of the selection process, but we want people that are really experienced and knowledgeable to be in the city. But we still don't want to exclude anybody. So it's kind of an interesting balancing act. So when we get them, we want to make sure they're proficient, they understand the rules, and follow everything. So, and it's been very good.
thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Odin.
Yep, thank you, Owen.
Back to Dave Leaker, the considerations for the bids on Island Park Pool.
Thank you, Madam President. So we had a addition to our agenda, which was to discuss our Island Park pool bids. And I also have in the house, I have Tony Wolf with Zerberg Architects, and I have Ryan Fleming with Gas Construction, who is our construction manager agent, if there are any questions. So commissioners, I did put together a memo today, and I tried to get that out to you to review before the commission meeting tonight. We did have a little hiccup in our instructions to bidders as part of our bidding process. Over the last 3 weeks, we had put out our specifications for the Island Park Pool project, and as part of those specifications was instructions to bidders about how to submit their bid. And part of and Jeff Gunkelman to my right is our legal counsel, so if there's any questions, we can send them his way. But as part of the bidding requirements and instructions to bidders, their bidders are required to include a bidder's bond, which is 5% of the total project costs in their area, and then also a contractor's license. And they're supposed to include that in a separate envelope on the outside of their bid. And if they don't have either of those two, we're not to read those bids aloud and send them back to the contractor. So with that being known, during the bidding process, we started going through a lot of the bids and realized that a lot of the contractors didn't have their contractor's license. So we finally realized that as part of the instructions to bidders, it did not include the following language: that each bid must be accompanied by a separate envelope containing the contractor's license and bid security. It did include the bid security, but not the contractor's license. So after, checking thoroughly with the instructions that we sent out, looking at the North Dakota Century Code, consulting with our attorney on the best way to move forward, we had about 23 bid packages. So, for example, consider masonry as a bid package. Pool basins is a big package. Fencing is a bid package. So we had 23 disciplines that were included in this bid package. And after we opened the bids we could, and then the ones we couldn't, we knew the contractors, but we didn't know what their bids were. We had 8 packages that met the requirements of the Century Code and included their contractor's license and their bid bond. So we reviewed that with our staff, Dave, Susan, myself, Brock, and Tyler. We reviewed these with our design team, which is Tony Wolf and Ryan Fleming, and then also met with our attorney. And in all these discussions, we kind of came up with a plan to move forward that we thought is the most fair way to move forward and meets legal requirements. So as part of our memo and part of our recommendation, and I'll just get to the point and then we can open it up for questions. Since eight of those bid packages met the requirements, and I'll read those off here. It is 3A concrete, 4 masonry, 5B metal fabrication, 6A general work and labor, 21 fire sprinkler, 23 plumbing and HVAC, 32A asphalt and milling overlay, and 32B concrete paving. So all of those bids met those minimum qualifications, so we opened them and read them aloud. And so what we'd like to do is hold on to these bids, move them to our facility committee meeting in February, just to review them, and we'll vet them. And then we'll decide how to move forward on them. But then the remaining bid packages, so a statement staff recommends that we reject the following bid packages due to improper bidding instructions, which did not allow for these packages to be competitively bid. And that's one thing as a government agency, we always want the most open and transparent and competitively bid projects possible. So these packages, the remaining of the 23 is 7A, which is EPDM roofing and sheet metal, 7B, metal roof and wall panel, 7C, caulking and sealants, 8B, aluminum openings and glazing, 8C, overhead doors, 9B, gypsum board assemblies, 9D, painting and coatings, 9E, epoxy concrete flooring, 13, pool construction, 26, electrical, 31, electrical site demolition, 32C, site fencing, 32E, landscaping, 32F, artificial turf, 33, site utilities. So we just feel with the misinstructions that these packages didn't have a chance to be competitively bid, and our recommendation would be to reject these bids and then allow staff to rebid them in the coming weeks. And if once we get these rebid, we would include them with the 8 previous packages and then bring them to, I believe, the March facilities meeting for consideration, and then potentially move that on to the April meeting. So with that kind of analysis and history, I will open it up to any questions to commissioners.
So just to clarify, the 8 package are moving forward on, everyone who bid on those packages met, and the 15 packages, we had at least one bidder in each of those meet the requirements. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you for bringing up that point, Commissioner Dawson. All the eight met the requirements, and in the remaining 15, either one or more potentially met the requirements, and one or more potentially or did not meet the requirements. So we just felt that those are the ones that needed to be rejected and rebid.
And then the rebidding process, again, timeline. So if we would reopen that, what's the timeline on
Yeah,
that?
good question. So the timeline on that, if we did reject the bids tonight and got permission to solicit for new bids, we would do that immediately. And we'd be able to get that bid notice to the paper, get the information out in February and March, and then have that bid opening prior to the Facilities Committee meeting in March. There is one little hiccup, that the current bids are open for, can be held for 60 days. So if you go 60 days from when the bids were open last Thursday to our board meeting in April, on that Tuesday, the 11th, it's 61 days. So what we would potentially do is have a special board meeting. Probably
Is that state statute, the 60 days?
No, that's just terms that we put in our bid specifications and instructions to bidders. We want them held for you can have them for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Just so happens these are held for 60 days, which gives us plenty of time to vet the bids, and then potentially if we have to delay the approval, we've got time. So it just so happens, I was kind of hoping with the short February that we could get that 60 days into our board meeting in April. So we'll still work through those details, but we'll make sure that it all falls in line with getting them approved on the right timeline.
Okay, Dave, the eight packages where all bidders met the requirements. We're gonna move
Correct.
forward. March meeting. No, February facilities meeting. You guys are gonna bring your recommendations, and we're gonna approve potential contractors at the March board meeting.
Yeah,
You
we
right?
still have to work through that, Commissioner Dawson. I think maybe the proper thing what we would do is we'd review the bids at the February Facilities Committee meeting and then hold on to them without approving them in March so that we can approve all the bids at once and have one project.
So that's your 61 day.
That's your
issue.
61 days, yes, correct.
These 8 packages, not the ones that you're starting over on.
Yeah, the initial 8 we can hold their bids for 60 days.
Okay. How many
And then that
bidders are in
allows
those
that-
8 packages?
Oh, I don't have that for you offhand.
That's okay. That's okay.
Susan's counting.
But what that allowed us to
Fine.
do is just make sure we approve all the bids at once and we don't initially approve 8 packages, and then all of a sudden the second round of bids come in way too high, and 17 contractors in those first 8.
And then how many contractors are we over? In that-
Excuse me, how many
In
contractors
those
left?
in that 15 display, the ones that we're saying,
They have to redo it.
here you go, here's your stuff back. We're starting again.
Susan's
I was
counting.
just gonna say, awkward
Right.
silence.
So the bid opening would be before the March facilities meeting?
The bid opening
Is
would
that
be
right?
prior to the March Facilities Committee meeting.
Okay.
36, Commissioner Dawson, in the remaining 13 packages.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Them.
Okay, so this would be essentially two separate votes, essentially, right?
Yes, I think what we would look for is 2 separate motions, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. You could potentially, sample motion would be a move to reject bid packages as presented. So that's 7A through 33. And then a follow-up motion, once that's approved, move to allow staff to solicit bids for the following packages, 7A through 33.
Excuse me, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move, so move to reject bid packages as presented. Yeah. You want me to read off all of the numbers and letters?
You could just go 7A through.
I'd just read them off quick,
Okay.
just so there's no
Yep, yep,
confusion.
Yep, I got
I
it. So
agree,
I'll just say like,
Because 7A
Yep.
through 33 doesn't work.
got it. So I'll move to reject bid packages as presented, 7A, 7B, 7C, 8B, 8C, 9B, 9D, 9E, 13, 26, 31, 32C, 32E, 32F, and 33.
Bingo.
Period.
Would somebody like to second the motion? Second?
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Further discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to, I just have one question, and, you know, we all make mistakes. Heaven knows how many I've made over my years, but this seems like a pretty simple mistake, and I'm curious if Zerberg could would at least give us some explanation as to what they found in terms of how this happened. Because this sets us back, and it seems to me that it's a pretty elementary mistake, and that over my years, and maybe it was just that simple, but I would like to hear from them.
Tony is coming to the podium, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry, to answer your question, we went back and looked, because my initial response to the beginning was, this is the same language we use all the time. You know, we've been using it for the 15 years that I've been at Zerberg Architects. What we found was on this particular project, the way we write specifications is you turn things on and off. And for some reason, when we turned on that section for North Dakota projects, that paragraph was not attached with that button, essentially, that we push. So it was that's kind of the programming behind it. The longer answer is that, you know, we reviewed it internally. Gas reviewed it, and we just that word license was missing, and really we all missed that upon our review.
Thanks for stepping up and answering that question. Put you on the spot a little bit.
Oh, that's all right. I was kind of expecting it. So
Thank you, Tony.
Any other questions or?
Just someone want to second the motion?
Vicky did.
I
Vicky did
already
second.
have.
Okay, all right.
I do
So,
want to, I also want to comment though. So, you know, I hear that when this happened, there was a lot of, what do we do next? And I personally got on the phone, reached out to other city entities, seeing if anybody else had this happen to them in the past and how to properly do this, G's office. And so, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of contractors that are, you know, wondering about this. And I just want to make it clear that, you know, we just say, well, let's just do this. There was a lot of thought that went into it, decision on how to move forward in the most fair way, and make sure that everyone who wants to bid and be part of this project is treated as fairly as everybody. Make that statement, because I think that's important to the contractors we work with, and that they trust our process and believe that we're being as fair as we can.
thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, Vicky.
Do you want to poll the board?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch, Commissioner Deutsch? I wonder if he got disconnected.
Looks like he's online.
Yeah, it looks like he's on.
Commissioner Deutsch? Commissioner Rosted?
Oh, I
Yes.
think Joe raised his hand as a yes. Oh, he's giving a
Thumbs
Joe?
up.
Okay, can we take a thumbs up? Okay, thank you, Joe. Commissioner Dawson?
aye.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Thank you. I believe that was a 5-0 vote.
Yep. All right, now we have a second motion that we need to make. Do you want to read it?
No, I'd prefer not to.
I got it.
Commissioner Dawson?
I move that we accept the bids for,
I move to allow staff to solicit bids.
I'm going through the 3A through 32B list, right?
That is correct. So,
No,
oh, wait.
4,
Yeah,
5B,
it's the
6A,
second- it's the second-
21, 22,
second page.
23, 32A, and 32B. I don't have any papers,
okay, I
and
can
it's
do it.
not on the screen.
Oh, okay.
So,
Commissioner Hill?
but I did write down all the, go ahead.
I move to allow staff to solicit bids for the following packages: 7A, 7B, 7C, 8B, 8C, 9B, 9D, 9E, 13, 26, 31, 32C, 32E, 32F, and 33, period.
That's a good bingo. Second.
I second it.
Okay.
Further discussion. If none, we can poll the board.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch?
Aye.
Commissioner Rosted?
Yes.
Commissioner Dawson?
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then to clarify, the other ones that we're moving to the facilities meeting, we don't have to take action on that. Okay,
That is correct.
to clarify.
Thanks, Aaron.
We will put a bid schedule together and how we'll handle this tomorrow, now that we made these, have direction. Correct. Thanks, Dave.
Someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. See ya.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.